Hey guys, welcome to this different kind of video. I thought I would do a bit of a PoE Ramble style league start recap slash my thoughts on the league and my current plans, my future plans in the league. So hopefully you enjoy. This is probably just some second monitor content. So I'm only gonna be playing my Sims for the gameplay here. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, let's start with the Leaguestart. So Leaguestart last week on Friday. Currently it's the start of day 6 at the time of recording this. Leaguestart last Friday. For me, I'm in EU. Started at 8 p.m. This time 2 hours earlier than normal, which is very nice for getting some early Atlas completion in or the full setup going before going to sleep on Friday. Which was very nice. Yeah, did the campaign, rolling magma to 28, and then firestorm until maps actually. I did my heisting starting of Act 6 after I got my first heist cache. I think I was one of the first people actually to go into the rogue thingy. It was completely empty still. Which worked out very nicely. I bought the barracks very early. I bought the barracks for 15 chaos, which was the item I wanted to have the most. Second was, of course, one of the weapons to then swap into Leap Slam. However, the Val Blade, can't remember the name at the moment, wasn't on the market yet, and I wasn't sure how much it would be going for, since I think quite a few builds are using it early game. So I went for one of the alternatives, the Halcyon Sword, which is roughly 10% worse. Not that big of a deal. It has a bit less attack speed, but it felt fine. So I went for that. I bought that for 5 chaos. Also during my heisting start there was only 2 online. Bought one of them. Yeah, and then just bought some of the smaller stuff. The gems, bought the amulet, bought... Can't remember what else I bought. Don't think too much actually. I only was in heist for a bit over half an hour, I think, until I got everything. I found all of the items and then farmed another 15 chaos or so to give myself a buffer if I need anything at the map start, so I don't have to go back again. Which worked out very nice. I finished the campaign then, I think at like 2 in the morning, 6-hour mark or something, after having my heisting done. And already some league mechanic stuff done as well. Was very happy with that, to be honest. My normal run times are like 5 hours at Leaguestart, so 6 hours with heisting done is very nice for me. Very happy with that. Yeah, but I only basically finished the campaign, finished all of the points, did my Merc Lab, and then did a few starting maps on Firestorm still until I was 70, I think. And then I swapped to Leap Slam when I got myself a 6-link from the tree, I think. I swapped, yeah, pretty sure I swapped to a 6-link immediately from the tree. I did not go with one of the chests, so the Replica Covenant probably would have been an option. There was one up for 20 chaos very early, but I didn't buy that, and there was no other listed then afterwards, and the Covenant was already on 50 chaos or something, and I didn't want to buy that, and the bronze was just too hard to off color, I think, for the 2 green, the 2 red to blue is just too tricky on the bronze. So I went for a 6-link from the tree, which of course, you know, it was very easy. And it's basically the same power as a bronze, a bit strong even, I think. And I stayed on that 6-link until I got a 6-link Covenant on end of day 2, but we'll get to that afterwards. But yeah, got the 6-link, then went to sleep, woke up. I slept first and then got the 6-link in the morning, I think. Yeah, woke up, started blasting Atlas completion on Lip Slam. I actually I went to a football game on Saturday, so I missed 5 hours there. But other than that, I basically only did Atlas completion on Saturday up until Sunday in the morning. Was very happy with that on how the Atlas completion went. I finished like 130 or something. I can't remember what it 110, 113. Plus all of the Guardian stuff at the end of day 2, basically for me. So before I went to sleep on Saturday to Sunday night. Yeah, very happy with the pace there. Didn't have to buy anything. Had enough chance orbs. Yeah, was very good pace. Bought a few of the cheap unique maps then as well to make sure that I got enough points for my Blight Atlas tree. And yes, then went to sleep on Saturday, and then Sunday started really blasting. During Saturday, I made a few upgrades. I sniped the Covenant for 2 Divines 6-linked. The corrupted 6-linked one. It's not this one actually. Which was very, very lucky. This was normally around 4 to 5. A guy just listed it with instant trade for 2, and I bought it immediately because I had the 2 Divines. Yes, and then for the sword, there's actually this sword still. I actually swapped a bit late. The sword was pretty expensive. I wanted one with a good roll, so at least 70%. There were some online for like 1.5 to 2 div on day 2, but I didn't want to spend that money yet, or didn't have that money yet. I wanted to get the 6-link before that. So I waited with the sword, which was a bit of a mistake, but worked out in the end. Someone listed a perfect one, this one, with decent attack speed for 4 div. That didn't sell for 4, and then he went down to 3, and I bought it for 3 divines, which was okay for the roll. It was like 1 div more than like 65% one, but that was worth it for me for never having to upgrade it again. Yeah, and since the tailoring orbs were incredibly cheap, I bought a few tailoring orbs. I think I used a bit over 10, 11, like roughly 1 div in tailoring orbs. I bought them for 10 to 15 chaos each. Very, very cheap, and hit the 10% ailment. Actually hit that twice. Once I hit it with all green sockets, which you can't use on the build, sadly. So I had to roll over that, and then luckily hit, I think, the all blue and 10% 2 orbs later. So yeah, wasn't too bad, and pretty big damage increase. Yes, other big upgrades. What did I get? Yeah, but the Polaric for 60 chaos, I think, since we found out that the graft is sadly bugged, and it is still bugged at this moment. It does not trigger on Leap Slam. For Ice Crash, actually, it should work, to be honest. Could probably swap the ring on Ice Crash, but doesn't really matter too much. The ring is good anyways with the Gannett Prolif. But yeah, bought the ring for 60 chaos. Then bought the perfect belt. This only was like 10C or something. Upgrade the rares a bit and upgrade the shield. My old rare shield had T1 spell block, T1 life, and I think T3 block or something with single rare suffix and an open suffix for attack speed. Very nice shield, and this was, I think, 10C. I'm looking on this guy. Yeah, shield, very, very nice. Let me keep the block and spell block on day 2 when I got the shield. Which was then perfect for the Atlas progression, perfect for tankiness. I barely died at all. Can currently check my deaths right now. 52 deaths and I'm at level 99 and I've been farming sims now for 3 days and looking on the second wonder quite a bit, so died a few times for stupid things. And also died a few times while doing the Voidstone bosses. Yeah, very, very happy with the tankiness. Especially in the early game, the block cap, the true block cap with the 80 attack block was just completely amazing on day 2. I love block, so yeah. Yeah, damage. Damage was a bit of a struggle on day 2 because I did not have a 6-link unique chest. I went with the normal 6-link and I did not have the good sword. So I ran around with like PoE DPS of like 2 mil, but mapping DPS that was like 600k or something on average. Towards the end of the red maps, it was a bit bad, but it was manageable, especially since I planned on doing Blight anyways, where your DPS doesn't really matter that much. Yeah, was fine. And after upgrading to the Covenant and to the sword, the damage basically went through the roof. Went up to I think 7 mil or something. Yeah, was just very, very nice, very smooth. Just a bit of a slump at the end of red maps before I got the big upgrades, like before I invested around 5 div, I would say, that I got during like map progression and doing some early Blight. Yeah, after those felt completely fine. Yeah, other upgrades on day 2/day 3 were the +1 curse amulet. Bought this for 1 divine. Yeah, live search this, bought the first one that popped up. Very, very nice for that. Gives you the +1 curse, especially before you have the Svalin with the Battle Mage's Cry setup. You have the 100% uptime of the Ellie week basically on single target for sure. On mapping, not really, but if you can press it on rares to have also the uptime, which was a very good single target DPS increase. Yeah, very, very nice to pick that up early. Yeah, Anoint basically always had the spell block Anoint, and then with the Svalin now swap to the attack block Anoint to cap attack block. Yeah, other than that, the gears actually was pretty straightforward. I used the Blizzard Crown on day 2, but one for I think 20C. That was already decently rolled. I think it had single res on it. Yeah, was not too expensive. And just 10% DPS or something. Bought some rare gloves and I used my tree boots that I made myself for a long time. Yeah, then I bought these upgraded ones only on day 3 at the end. Yeah, was there anything else? Yeah, day 2, nothing really. Day 2 was chest and sword were the big upgrades. Day 3 started doing Blight in maps. This is the Atlas tree that I used, my Blight tree. Basically went all of the Blight nodes, all of the map nodes, and then as many Scarabs nodes as I could. Because of this one, the unique mobs, 200% chance increased Scarabs. This with the unique boss Blight lane has some decent synergy. And the focus on ambush, since I knew that boxes were pretty popular. So the normal ambush Scarabs did sell pretty nicely. And then also Exarch, full pack size on Exarch. Yeah, this was also very nice for Bubblegum on day 3. Yeah, basically ran any downside except for minus res. And I still have it spec the got the burning ground immunity, makes the altars a bit smoother. But yeah, basically full Blight day. I didn't really make too many upgrades because I was unsure what to do. I did make a few upgrades. I bought the clusters and I rolled them. I bought one of the cluster bases already on day 1 for 10C. This was on during the heisting session. Bought one of them for 10C. They immediately went up to like 50C on day 2. And I bought the 2 that I needed for I think 90 then on day 3. Was a bit expensive, should have probably bought the bases earlier, but didn't really have the money. Yeah, doesn't really matter too much. Rolled them and used those. After getting those online, I think my damage was around 10 to 15 mil, I would say. I think it was at roughly 10 because I didn't have the helmet. Yeah. So it was just clusters without the Dark Monarch. And I had a bit of a dilemma at the end of day 3. I was at, I think, 25 div from all of the Blight stuff. I was basically just doing blighted maps, selling the bubblegum that I got from altars and selling the blighted maps. Blighted maps very, very good on like the day 3 start. There were the 14 to T16 was 6 blighted maps for 1 divine, and I sold I think 10 or 15 div worth on that day just for that, which is incredibly expensive. Now they are like 15C or something. This is for the T16s only, which is like 8 or 9 for a div. And all of the other ones like T15 is like 10C, so it's a lot worse now. But yeah, did have some luck with that. But yeah, at the end of day 3 then had the dilemma of, do I save up for Svalin already before getting the helm? Because the helm was on roughly 10 div. Could have easily bought it. And the Svalin was on 25 div, I think, actually. And I really wanted to get it. And I was on 20 and it was 25. And then they got all bought up. And then it was at 40. And when I was at, I think I had 31 div or something. And then all of the ones at 40 got bought up and it went up to 80 or something quickly. They were basically non-listed, but 2 or 3 listed only. I said, yeah, screw this. I bought the helmet, I bought Awakened gems, I bought all of the 21 gems. Yeah, just did all of my gem upgrades, then all of the helmet swap, had the clusters online, bought some good normal jewels, spent I think around 15 to 20 div I would say at this point, just for regular key upgrades. And this was when I got to roughly 20 mil, 15 to 20 mil PoE DPS with the helm then, which was already this basically very nice, was perfectly fine for anything and everything. And yeah, this was end of day, or like near the end of day 3. I did a few more hours of Blight then. And I had a bunch of stuff not sold. Didn't sell any oils yet, so I had all of those stored up for the start of day 4. Yeah, start of day 4. Got another like I think 100 blighted maps or something to sell. Sold all of my oils, liquidated a lot of the scarabs I had. And the Svalin, when I woke up, was down to 45 div again. And I basically sold everything that I had and bought it for 45. Yes, this was basically the progression I did until I had the Svalin then on start of day 4, so on Monday on morning. which is very, very good pace. I like the progression a lot. I think the pace was good for the gear upgrades. Bit lucky on the divine drops. I think I had 3 in total or something rather early. So very nice on that front. Yes, other stuff. Yeah, the Forbidden Flesh Flame combos. I was already monitoring them on day 3. I have the Heart of Destruction tools on the PoB. But the Heart of Destruction tools are only really good if you run the explosion setup with the Orievs and without the barracks. But the flask was, I think, 13 div for a good roll. And I did not want to spend that. And the how is it called? Heart of Destruction node jewels were also, I think, over 10 div. I looked through all of them since if you want to play with Mastermind of Discord, you can just spec it as well, so you can use any of these 5 jewel sets, whichever is cheapest. The only difference is the minor node then. But yeah, I monitored all of them. The Leash of the Primordial was obvious that it was not going to be it. Of course, this is the most expensive one since all of the Necro ones are yanking this one. So yeah, this was like 50 diff or something. And the other ones were around 5 to 10 diff for a set. However, the Mastermind of Discord, the Ether version, was incredibly cheap on, I think it was already on day 3. I bought the Ether side for 30 chaos, I think, on day 3. And I knew that no one was gonna buy if the Ether is 20C, no one is gonna buy the flame thingy for, I think it was listed for 7 div. And there were quite a few listed actually for 7 div. I knew it was gonna go down. So I just live searched that and bought that on day 4 then after getting the Svalen for 3 div, I think. 2.5 or 3. So the whole set cost me basically 3 divines in total. Very, very good for this amount of power on a Forbidden Flesh Flame set. Nice 1 div. Split Perso. So yeah, I think this is actually all of the gear basically. Yeah, bought a phasing tool as well on day 3, I think. Yeah, the Lethal Pride, but that as well on day 4 after getting the Svalen. Cost me 1 div. This is a double ignite faster, I think. Yeah, double ignite faster. There are a lot of seeds with this. There are like 20 different seeds you can use, so not big of a deal to get this. I think they should all be under 1 divine. Yeah, for the Svalen swap I needed a bit more res, so I bought 1 basically Giga Lightning Res jewel to keep my res. Yeah. But a Watcher's Eye as well, if I can find it. I think it's down here. Yeah, but a Watcher's Eye with Ignite Faster, 14%. This was 1 div, I think. What is it now? Ailment Faster, 14% is 2 divines. I think I bought it for 1. So yeah, just a 14% DPS upgrade. Yeah, other than that, didn't really change the gear much. Then Cinder Swallow had a bit of a worse one on day 3, I think, but that for 1 divine, but the perfect one for 2, I think, or 2.5 yesterday. Yeah, Tincture, bought a 26 core Tincture, was live searching that for 60 chaos on day 3 as well. Yeah, other than that, just I think I already talked about everything. Yeah, build outlook. So this is basically what we're currently at. Build outlook. If you have been following my PoE Ninja, you're gonna have seen that the gear has not changed at all since basically day 4. I've not done any upgrades after getting the Svalin setup with the bin jewels and whatever online. And I don't really plan on doing any more as well. Currently my plan is I bought a few investments that are probably hopefully gonna go up. So just some stuff that's good to buy early. Since the power level is perfectly fine for the content I want to do, which is Sims right now. So I just invested all of the, or I'm still investing all of the money I get from Sims. And looking to cash out in like 2 weeks to 3 weeks. And then transition into the next build. What would be the upgrade still for this build would obviously next step is Megalomaniacs. I have been kind of keeping an eye out if they are gonna be cheap. They've been hovering around 10 div now for 2 to 3 days, which is too expensive for me to upgrade, but it would be pretty good upgrades, I think. I just said to myself, if I'm farming Sims, I will use up to 2 if I drop them, then sell them later. But I'm not gonna buy any. So yeah, if you see my PoE Ninja with Megalomaniacs equipped, then those are gonna be SSF Megalomaniacs, so self-farmed. I don't plan on buying any. This setup is dot cap, which obviously doesn't matter in Sims since it's daily 90% reduction. But yeah, the damage is plenty fine for doing most of the Sims deathless. So not really any reason for me to upgrade anymore. And I want to save up for my next build, of course, which is going to be something to delve with. I already have a good plan, I think. I'm not going to spoiler anything yet. Yeah, just going to have to wait, I think 2 or 3 weeks, I think, that then the setup will be good enough that I can really start getting into delve. For this build, what I wanna still go for is, like I said, farm Sims probably this weekend, whole next week and next weekend. Yeah, a bit boring, but I'm fine with that. Gonna watch some series, I think. New Witcher came out, need to watch that. And got a few other stuff as well, cute, that I wanna watch. Yes. Yeah, for this build, other content I want to do is wanna try a few of the Uber bosses. Probably gonna do like a, I don't know, like a compilation video of the Ubers, everything thrown together. And I wanna start delving as well on this. I really wanna test how deep like a block-based setup can go. Probably gonna have 2 Megalomaniacs for that, and hopefully gonna be level 100 after the sim farming session. Really looking forward to getting into some delve. Hopefully, I mean, what I would really like is to get to at least 1k on this block-based, like pretty much no mitigation or no defensive setup, no very low max hits. I think it's doable. Really nice would be getting to 2k, but I think 2k with dot is incredibly difficult. Probably not gonna make that. 1.5k would be nice. Probably doable with Ignite without being pain in the ass. So yeah, probably gonna do that, and then at like 1k to 2k swap into the actual delve setup. Yeah, which is where we come to the goals to the league. Of course, goal is gonna be again to reach 6k. We'll see if I go deeper than 6k, maybe. Depends on how good the build ends up being, the delve build. There's a bit of a question mark if the setup is gonna work, even if the gear that I want is available on the market. But yeah, I'm 6k for sure in some way or form, either with the build I have planned right now or with something I think of with some of the new 4-1 uniques. But yeah, gonna see about that in like 3 weeks or something. After farming a bit, the setup is probably gonna need a few mirrors, and yeah, I don't mind farming for like a week or two. Yes. Yeah, let's swap away, I think, from the build stuff and talk a bit about the actual league mechanic. So, Keepers of the Flame, new breach rework. In general, we have the 3 breach events in maps. Let's talk about those. We have... Do we have 3? Ah, yeah, we have 3. We have the fortification thingy, where you guard the girl for 6 to 8 waves. On this build, pretty easy. Ignite Prolife basically clears as soon as anything gets to her. You can just leap slam around her. I don't think I ever failed one, even without clicking any of the things. Just from the loot perspective, a bit, yeah, underwhelming, I guess. Also, since people found out that it eats some of the scarab mobs and normal map mobs. Gonna have to see what they do about that, or if it's getting fixed. I was skipping some of them towards the end of my blighting, because I wasn't too sure about what to craft with the tree. I did some chests at the start, some unique chests for 6-link unique chests, which worked out decently. Made a few divines on those. For the rares, I mostly did boots, gloves split, hoping for some attack speed or some suppression on those and some move speed. Since with the speed tag, you can get move speed or attack speed, like boots, gloves has some decent synergy. Made, yeah, I think a few divs on that, not too much. Got one good pair of ES gloves with attack speed that sold for, I think, 2 div. But that was the best that I've got from the tree so far. And since I'm not doing sims, you don't get any graft or life blood or whatever it's called, graft blood in sims, so can't really do much now. Crafting the graft, not too sure how good it is. Crafts itself are pretty insane, but for crafting them, I don't know. Personally, I bought mine, didn't SSF them. But yeah, I think I don't know, I think there are too many mods and you want too much specific stuff. Since if you go for player power, you want a specific free mod, which can be, I think it's too hard to target, since, I don't know, you can't really spec into any specific stuff, only like do full modifier tiers if you want to get actually like tier 1, tier 2 rolls. And then you need to get them rare as well. Maybe you can actually craft them decently with the crafting currency. I've not used any of those. So if that's good actually, then yeah, that's nice. But I've not touched that, so can't really say much about that. Yeah, then currency on the tree, I don't know. You see the clips of people dropping 20 divs. This did not happen to me. I have not dropped a single div. I've not dropped a single X. So I kind of stopped just doing the currency. Spell 20C. I stopped doing the currency one. Yeah, uniques. You see a lot of people getting mage bloods now. Maybe that's an angle. Maybe that's also just streamer client going ham. But yeah, I guess that's just the Gamba thing. Let's talk a bit more about the grafts. The graft mechanic itself, I was a bit skeptical at the start before really seeing all of them. Now I like them a little bit more now. especially since seeing some of the permanent player modifiers that you can roll on the grafts makes it very similar to what we had in Sanctum League. Sanctum was quite a bit stronger, I think, for some builds on the player power, weaker for others on the player power. Yeah, some of the passive ones are incredibly strong. The attack maximum thingy on crit is just giga broken. I don't know why this is only on attack and not on spells again. This, I don't know, GGG just last few leagues, spells are not eating good at all. So, and they are bringing more stuff for spells. The cover in Ash graft also only works for attacks and not for spells. So, yeah, I don't know. There's too much attack bias, and personally I love spells. Yeah. But the graft itself, what I'm using right now for this build here, the guard skill graft, the Heart of Flame, I underestimated it a bit at the start. I thought the uptime was too bad and you couldn't really proc it reliably. But there's quite a few tech or stuff you can do. It can roll up to, I think, 35% duration and 35 CDR. If you have double T1, it has 85% uptime or something. It's incredibly strong, especially on like here on the Svalin setup where we have low max hits, a low life pool, and we also are relying already on shields. We have the Primal Aegis. A lot of our ele mitigation is like 30% of that is the Aegis. And then you have the 4.5k shield for 10-second duration, and the cooldown is 12 seconds or something. So anything that goes through the Svalin block, you can basically be sure that it's getting blocked by a combined shield of over like 7k. Just incredibly strong on this kind of setup. And if you use Blood Rage or have Covenant and spend some life somewhere, have life tap on something, you immediately proc it again when it's ready. So very, very strong on that front. Second graft, the Pyre, or like the Colder Pyre, I think it's called, which covers an Ash. Yeah, very, very sad that it's bugged for Leap Slam. This would have been incredible for early game. But yeah, since it doesn't work for Leap Slam, I didn't use it. And I'm currently using Reefed in Light. It's an on-use thingy that drops like ground on the floor. You can see it here. Drops on lightning ground on the floor, which grants added damage similar to level 20 Wrath, which is a lot of damage. This is 20 to 25% damage if you stand on it. Good for Sims. This has actually also nearly 100% uptime. You can look at the buff here, Radiant Ground, and on the cooldown down here. This is, if you actually click it and if you move into it, see it's still up, still up, still up, and the cooldown is ready and it's still up. You can click it again and then move into it, so it's permanently up. So this is a free Wrath basically if you can stand still for content like Sims. Very, very good. Hits as lucky, doesn't do anything for this build, but yeah, hits as lucky. I think this, you can cook an incredible Glad max block wonder for Sims this time. You could just go triple lucky for lightning and either go like full lightning wonder or you go something with energy blade. Yeah, just I think there's a lot of cool stuff you can do with that. And it also has good passive stats. This one has just flat lightning on the implicit, and then the T1 flat lightning roll is also 30 average or something, which is pretty good. I think this is roughly 10% or something DPS. So yeah, but basically very nice passive thing. For the guard skill, didn't know that at the start. I only looked at the PoE DB like I think 2 days ago. then upgrade it immediately to this one, you can have ailments inflict damage faster on them as a mod, which is crazy. This is so much damage on Ignite. If we could use the Cold Pyre one, you can use that on both. Do I have one here? I don't have anyone with the mod, but you can have 2 times up to 11% damaging ailments faster. It's like a 20% DPS increase, just like that, completely passively. Yeah, very nice. A few of the other grafts are a bit more wonky. I've heard some stuff about the minion brittle being okay. The elemental Aegis one with the exposure inflict, I think that's pretty good on Elementalist. Also has some duration stuff and has some max res while active modifier as well, which is a bit interesting if you can get that to a decently uptime. Yeah, max res implicit, max res explicit mods on the other ones as well, +1 to lightning, fire, cold. Decent for like finishing melding setups, of course, or just chiefs, and also the fire one, very good. Yeah, good overall. Some of the other unused ones I think are a bit underwhelming. Just the ones that do pure flat damage, don't have any bonus effects. Not too big of a fan of that since it doesn't scale. Only really good for early game. I don't know. Not too big of a fan of those, but all of the passive ones seem okay. So I'm mostly gonna be using those. Don't really like the extra buttons too much. I don't mind this every 20 seconds for like 20% DPS. This is okay for me, especially in Sims, but the other ones where you actually have to aim on a boss or something to do damage, yeah, no thank you. Okay, I think that was everything about graft. Let's get to Fallborn uniques. A few thoughts about those. I think the video is gonna be too long if I go into detail about all of them, or the good ones. I think there is a lot of potential here. The Fallborn uniques, definitely one of the cooler things on the league. A bit sad that for this build the only really usable one is the Fallborn Barracks. So a few people use the single explode one, the shock explode, or even the double explode. I think the double explode has gotten quite expensive now. I heard it was over 10 div. So yeah, and I'm not sure, I've not tested it if it's even an upgrade over the normal one. I'm a big fan of the normal one, to be honest. So yeah, I'm not sure about that. Int life, useless. Yeah, other Fallborn uniques, a few notable ones. Some of the jewels look cool. Definitely some of the radius jewels with the conversion to max life, extra ES, even the suppression one, the ancestral vision one with the defend with 200% armor guaranteed, looked interesting on for transcendence setups. Gonna have to look into that maybe for a giga defensive setup or something. But I think in general defenses right now are kind of easy to solve in high investment builds. Block is so strong right now. And Maxwell's has gotten a lot of easier to get. Yeah, of course, endgame on the CI setups, Aegis, I think, also incredibly strong. Yeah, I don't know. Life is a bit behind, I think, but I think Pathfinder can still make some incredible defensive setups on life with Progenesis scaling and the life flask. But other ascendancies on life, I'm not too sure. Maybe some life stickers are fine. But other than that, I think in the end game right now, it's still gonna be full energy shield. Except that maybe I think strength deck is still gonna be life based, but that's the only big endgame build I see being life based up until the end game. But yeah, I think that's a topic for another one. But the Fallborn Uniques, yeah, a lot of very cool stuff, a lot of mana stuff that looks interesting to me. Maybe have to play around with that a bit later in the league. Some of the stuff looks very cool. The Lightning Overcap to Mana Amulet, I'm sure you can cook something insane with that. This just sounds crazy. It's like for 400, 500% increased mana or something. And then you can double scale that if you go Grasping Mill as well for crit chance, if basically crit capped and have 500% ink mana. So yeah, sounds alright. Not too familiar with Archmage setups at the moment, so maybe something to look into. Yeah, I think we're gonna leave it at that for the Fallborn Unique. There's just so much stuff. You would have to go through the list and then comment on each of them, but I think that's too much. Let's get to the next topic, which is the meta state of the game, I guess. Is choosing dead or the poverty league. Everyone is talking about it. Reddit is currently crying. Full despair mode. Can you even make money in this game still? And for Atlas farming, I have no idea. I'm gonna have to be honest. I don't ever basically farm anything on the Atlas. I think the last league I did the ultimatum boss rushing strat, but that's, I don't know, boss rushing, not really going for any mechanics, and ultimatum is tile based, where I only farmed the tainted catalysts with Arch Go. Don't think you can really count that as mapping strategy. And this is the only strat I even did in the last, I think, 5 leagues that has anything to do with mapping. Other than that, I'm just doing either tile-based stuff. You see me doing sims right now. I always do sims. So, and sims currently are fine. Unedited voices are 2 diff at the moment and are going up. And I can definitely see them going up way more. They were to 7 diff or something last league at one point. So those are pretty sure that's gonna go up still. But for general, the mapping stuff, yeah, it's a bit sad that they killed so much. I think the only thing that really had to be killed was the Abyss threat, since it didn't require a build. It was just clicking boxes. So I don't mind that getting removed. It also screwed a bit the scarab prices, since it was self-sustaining on scarabs, and yeah, just shit out all of the other ones. But other than that, I don't know if Alva should have really been nuked that hard. Yeah, I'm not sure. Not too big into the mapping juice. But only having boxes now is a bit sad, I think. But we're gonna have to see if something else comes up. Ultimatum, I think, still fine. Delve, with the change that there are no more resonators available outside of Delve, I think could be good if at the end dense fossil crafting ends up being so strong again that our people are running necrotics or other dense crafted stuff. But we're gonna have to see how strong the tree ends up being in the end game. Yeah, we don't know that yet. Delph also got quite a big nerf, or like pseudo nerf, with no more mercenaries means no more people that want the helmet. The helmet was one of the bigger profit things, big ticket items last league. So you always had this checkpoint thing where you always could hit the 25 diff roughly helmet on the all. That is now gone. However, you can sell the all carries now, since the ascendancy is pretty good. I saw those going for a 3 div per boss carry. If you can get parties full on that, you can do 15 div per all, which is very, very good consistently, but I don't know if you can get full parties. Good thing about all is you can basically schedule it, since you can just find it, then advertise, and as soon as you have 3 to 4 people or something, then run it. As long as those people don't mind waiting for a few minutes. Or even longer maybe. So yeah, this is kind of nice from Delph. But other stuff, I think essences are gonna go up in the end again. Blight Ravage is still good from what I heard. Yeah, Blight in maps. Yeah, Blight for the map farming is what a lot of people are doing right now. Looks fine. Just that map prices are completely doomed. I think T16s are 1C to 2C. So this is already kind of dead. 16.5s, of course you can farm those. 8 mods maybe. Sell 8 mods. Those should still be fine. Yeah, T17 boss rushing. I have not checked the fragment prices yet. Maybe Abomination is gonna be good again if the Maven frag goes up to a div or something each again. Then the old ulti-strat from last league looks pretty good again. But yeah, gonna have to see how the league develops. I think over the next 1 to 2 weeks. I think stuff is gonna be maybe a bit cheaper, a bit less div per hour. I mean, some people got over 100 div at the end game with Alva. I think you're gonna cap out at like 40 or something this league per hour with the real choose strats, which is still completely fine. So doesn't really matter. Yeah, personally, I can show you my excellence actually. What does excellence say? 4 different hour currently. Yeah, this is of course wrong, so can't really trust it. Yeah, I'm on 250 in total, but this just random stuff, and I bought a lot of investment stuff that's not showing on up here. So yeah, I'm doing fine. I think sims are still good. I think you can make probably 10 diff an hour in sims at the moment. And it's very chill. I don't mind it. Yeah, gonna be curious to see if many people start multi-boxing. I think running 2 sims at the same time with custom stun characters is very good right now. But it's also, you need a good PC, and it's a lot of struggles setting it up, living a second account, blah blah blah. I don't know. Not really too sure about that. Yeah. I think let's go to the next thing I want to talk about is the best update that's ever happened to PoE, I think, from quality of life perspective. And it's of course async trade. Yeah. Async trade is completely insane. I think the enjoyment of just, I don't know, not having any waiting time, not having any, you need something, you need one C unique, you buy it, you need 2 scarabs. Okay, you could still have done that last week as well. You can buy, I don't know whatever the hell you want, and you can immediately have it. People misprice stuff, and then you can immediately buy it for cheap if it's not that contested, like good rares or something that are popping up on live search for 20C that are worth like 3 to 4 div. Can buy those immediately. Stuff that's a bit more tricky now is live searching, sniping stuff, since a lot of people do it. The megalomaniacs. I've seen so many megalomaniacs with Primordial Bond listed for 20 chaos, and if you then immediately go to the hideout of the guy, of course your loading screen was too slow and you don't get it. And you see 150 people in this hideout. So yeah, it's just a lot of people sniping and trying to snipe. But of course now you have to be a bit more knowledgeable about the pricing, so you can't really get spam whispered anymore for something. Of course, you can still list it normally. But yeah, not a lot of people are doing that. For me personally, for the trading I'm doing at the moment, it's incredible. Previously, you couldn't really list the sim stuff for cheap since you only have 6 portals and maybe even die once. So you say you have 5 portals for trading, or 4 even. And then you only go out for like 1 diff trade, so I don't know. Now I can, let me show you after wave on what I'm currently doing with the async trade, about how I'm playing it. Maybe you can utilize that as well. I had a lot of dump tabs previously when I did sims. I had over 10 quad dump tabs since I pick up all of the jewels and I sell all of the rare jewels that sims drop. It's one of the best sources for abyss jewels, for rare ones. Yeah, what I'm doing right now is throwing everything into a dump tab, which you've probably seen me do over the last 15 minutes. So yeah, you have this dump tab, which is 50 chaos full tab. And then I throw everything in here. Every unedited and every 2 or 3 sims I ID everything. Just it's a bit faster. And then I wait. Currently I do this until the tab is nearly full. So this takes me, I don't know, half a day of farming, maybe even. And when the tab is full, let me show you. When the tab is full, I go to Faustus and I list them all. I have 18 tabs, normal tabs full of abyss jewels and normal jewels. So I list all of them. I have in here for 50, see if I get spammed for anything. If I get spammed, I reprice it higher or reprice it to the correct price. You can still do the old spam price check like this. If I'm not getting whispered for any of them, I dump all of them for 20C in here. This stays in here at 20C for what I'm currently doing now is basically like half a day. Or I list everything from that day for 20C. Overnight I keep it in there for 20. And then next day in the morning I drop it down to 10. I repress all of the tabs to 10, you can see here. And then I leave it in at 10 until I need the space again. And when I need the space again, I just vendor the full tab and throw in the next for 20. I can show you my sale history. You can see basically a lot of toxic sewers. I can see it sadly. But you can see like jewel here, 10C, 20C, 10C, 20C. Yeah, that's all map sadly. Yeah, there's a lot of like 10C, 20C sales. And with, I think diff has now gone up quite a bit. Oh yeah, 133. This was 100 up until today. So just selling 5 20C jewels is a divine. And you get so many jewels and you sell so many of them. It was working out really, really nicely for me. Like here, random cluster jewel. Okay, this was 19. This was one of those. But yeah, this is working out really nicely. Megalomaniacs from, of course, not gonna put those on async. I have all of them in for a diff, see if I can spam for any of those. But of course, I'm checking them myself for Primordial Bond. Sadly, I've not gotten any yet. I'm up, I don't know, what is this, 60 or something Megalomaniacs now. Split Persus, I also press manually, sell them individually. This one, int mana, 1 diff. Actually list that. Let me list that. 1 divine. Yeah. Voices, these are all of the voices I dropped so far. This should be 19 from what I know. They are currently 2 diff unedited. So this is alone 40 diff in voices here. Yeah, hopefully those go up. I'm gonna keep all unedited, I think, over the next 1.5 to 2 weeks and then sell them at the end. those are basically never going down in price. Yeah, hopefully they will go to 4 to 5 div in 2 weeks, hopefully, and then sell, I don't know, 100 of them. Yeah, would be my current plan. Yeah, I think incubate affinities, new affinities, also very, very cool with the settlers and whatever incubator affinity. Having a quad tab for incubators is just, it's a dream come true for farming sims. You always had the incubators in the dump tabs, and now you have them all in one quad dump tab and just come throw them on everything. Bought the trinket as well for one more incubator slot. It's just perfect. It's just perfect. Yeah. Yeah, async trade for me, definitely the highlight of the league so far. The league mechanic itself also good. Maybe we can do a quick like fazit recap. Yeah, async trade for me, best update or best part of the patch for sure. Then new league mechanic, very cool. Mostly for early game. Grafts have some late game potential, maybe even some build enabling potential. But other than that, just a bit passive power spike. I would say you can, for tech builds, this can go up to, I don't know, 30 to 40% maybe on some builds power. For spellcasters, I think it's quite a bit lower. Sadly. Yeah, Leaguestart itself, very, very happy with the Leaguestart. Very cool build. I am loving the Svalin. I've never played with the Svalin before, like I mentioned in my Leaguestart video. Wanted to play with it. Now I've played with it currently on the 1991 like attack spellblock setup. It's incredibly cool, incredibly nice that it actually is so tanky with the Igis, with the graft shield, that I can do basically level in sims if I actually pay attention and somewhat play, or use the Omen for the XP loss mitigation. Pretty sure I can hit 100, and I probably will do that over the next 2 weeks, so, but I don't really have a hurry. 99 was incredibly free, so very, very cool. Yeah, loving it. Leap Slam, very good. Feels nice if you have the right attack speed, so like 2.3 or something felt pretty smooth for me. I like that you can swap to Ice Crush for the sims. I like that a lot for not needing to aim, just sitting here in the middle, holding right click and while watching a movie or something, doing sims. Very nice. Yeah, very, very happy with the build. And I think the Leap Slam Ignite is actually picking up a bit of traction. I saw a few posts around it, and I saw that I think Steel Mage is planning on slightly different on a live stack setup. Looks cool as well. But yeah, gonna have to see what people come up with, what other people are doing in the full end game setups with like 6 megalos maybe. Gonna have to see what people cook. Yeah, I think that was all of the topics that I had written down or thought of. If you made it this far, leave a like and comment something. And if you enjoyed it, my little league ramble, maybe I'll do a second one later in the league when I've finished building the Delph build. We've seen a little bit more about the league. Maybe we can do a meta review of PoE Ninja in like 1 or 2 weeks and see some of the builds that have crystallized out as meta builds for the patch. But yeah, if you like this format, just let me know. And other than that, hopefully you guys are enjoying the league, and I wish you all a pleasant day of farming, whatever you're farming. See you around, guys.